Hello, welcome to this video tutorial. My name is Alberto Chavez, and actually this is the very first of a new channel that we have opened with my friend Carlos Arteaga, and we pretend to give some tutorials, most likely in Blender, but we could use also GIMP and Inkscape, which is all open source software, which is actually our passion here. So this is the very first, as I said, in English, because my friend Carlos has already tons of tutorials, video tutorials on the channel. But we are doing things kind of different, because first of all, he is a native English speaker and I am a native Spanish speaker, so we're trying to go the opposite way here. So my apologies for my accent, just in case you don't like Latin accent, but hey, this is just an experiment we want to launch. So well, as I said, we better start. Enough of presentations. You will find also a link for my blog, Diseño Libre, that's free design, on below the video on the YouTube video. So today we're gonna start. Actually, Carlos started with the very basics of Blender in Spanish. So now I would like to take another very different approach to this. We're gonna work with particles, the particle system in Blender, which is very strong, which is very mature, if you want to call it like that. And we're gonna do, we could call it a particle cannon. It's a very interesting gun that, thank God, that doesn't exist, and hopefully it will never exist. But hey, we can dream. In our dreams, everything should be possible. Not necessarily in reality, but in our dreams, thanks to Blender, we can do. And you know what? First of all, I will use my key monitor, which is right here. Why don't use the screencast feature within Blender? That's pretty easy. Sometimes that tends to crash Blender, and you know, that's something I don't like. That's something I don't want. Anyways, if it crashes, well, we will need to start not from the beginning, but where I left it. Okay. First, let's add a simple circle. And we're going to the edit mode by pressing the tab key, and I want to rotate this on the y-axis, RY, 90 degrees, and let me take this a little behind. And now what we need to do is just model the cannon. We're not gonna focus that much in the cannon, in the shape of the cannon, but you know, in the use of the cannon, if that can be said in these cases. I'm going to start from the smallest, and we're going to extrude this E, S, and we're just going to model a very basic gun, or well, something I want to think about as a gun. Now I'm going to extrude this on the x-axis. Let me scale this a little bit. Again in the x-axis, and scale it. Finally another in the x-axis and scale it down. Just maybe like that. I want this to be as small as this right here, because you know this is gonna be the let's say the exit for the particles that we're going to shoot from here. So now I will extrude it again, E, X, but inside. How do we see inside, since everything seems to be solid? We just press the Z or Z, and there you have it. Again, extrude it, the X-axis, scale it a little bit, extrude it on the X-axis, scale it a little bit. One last one here, and now I want to close this just because, because I want it. So how do we make a single node from all of these nodes we have here? We just need to press Control M, Alt M, I'm sorry, and select. You want to make it at the cursor, collapse it, or at the center. I want it at the center of the image that I have, so there it is. That's pretty much what I want. So let's leave for just a single little moment the wire mode, which is what we had here. This is the wire mode, or the wire view, I'm sorry. And let's give it some material. We go here to this icon here, this circle or sphere, and you see here it says material, and we're going to choose, let's say, a nice red color, just because now that everything is red, I want to create a new material, and let's say we're gonna make it a light blue or cerulean right here, and I want all of these guys here to be cerulean, the inside of our Canon. So what did I do to select the whole nodes here? I just press Alt Shift and the right mouse button. This is basically what I want. Oh, I'm leaving here this lonely guy. So again, Alt Shift, right click, and here I'm gonna click Assign. What did I do? If you can see here, the outside of the Canon, it's completely red, but the inside, it's light blue or cerulean, however you want to call it. Now just because I want to smooth this, because I want you to see what is happening here. As you can see, there are some weird black lines here. That's because whenever you model from a 2D shape, as we did from a circle, single circle, what happens is that some of the faces you extrude are pointing out, some of the faces are pointing in. So the faces that are pointing the opposite direction of the most, or of most of the faces, are giving us this weird lines here. How do we fix it? That's pretty easy. We're going to deselect first, because all of this is selected, all the inside, so we need to deselect with A and select the whole mesh with A again. And now all what we need to do is press Control N, and you see everything's gone. What that Control N means, that's pretty easy. That's just, we're saying Blender, hey, please put the whole faces pointing at the same direction, either out or in. Most likely they're pointing out. If you want them to pointing in, you need to press Control Alt N, if I'm not wrong. But anyways, this is done. This is completely the way we want it. Now comes the interesting part. let me select again the inside of our particle cannon, and I want this to be a separate mesh. Since this whole cannon here is a single mesh, a single object, I want this inside part to be separated. How do I do it? I just press P and it will ask me, you want to separate by material, by loose parts, or by selection. Actually, I could do it by material because the part I want to be separated has a different material. But since I already choose it, I can say that I want to be this separated by the selection. Now, if I select the inside part, I move it, you can see it's a separate mesh. Alright, we're gonna work exactly with that mesh here. And now we're going to the particle system. Here, this little stars here are the particle system within Blender, and I'm going to add a new particle system, and I'm going to call it, just because, you know, as a good practice, we should give a name every time we add objects or particles or whatever, vertex groups or anything. And I'm going to call it bullets. Actually, it's not bullets. What we're gonna do is, or what we need to do from here, it's the particles itself. We're not going to parent them to any object or anything like that. So we need to use some of this features here on the particle system menus. And first things first, we need to, we need this to be jittered, which is where it is. We need this to be faces. This to random and even distribution needs to be checked. And now in velocity, we can leave this as it is, 1, and the rest of them is 0. We get down to physics, and let me see. Actually, the size, we need to change this to 0.2. I mean 0.02. And I want to decrease the mass to 0.1. Why I'm decreasing the mass is because we need some, we're gonna go to physics afterwards, and we're going to use a wind force field to force the particles to go through this hole here. So if the mass is too heavy, it's too up in numbers here, they will tend to follow, or they will tend to do whatever they want, not what we want. So the mass of our particles needs to be as low as possible, and I found that a mass of 0.1 is quite what we need. Alright, let's see what else. Oops. Okay, that's pretty much it. Oh, here, you need to be sure that halo is selected, because actually in order for our particles to look like little energy bullets, if you want to call it like that, they need to be a halo. Emitter needs to be selected, and fill weight, the gravity needs to be 0, because if we give some gravity to this, the wind will not work the way we want. So that's basically what we need. If here we press Alt A, you see the particles are starting to be emitted from exclusively this part of our Canon, which is the new mesh we created. Okay, now as I said, we need to go to physics, and we need to add a force field, which is a wind force field. Bring it here. Oops. Oh, let me go ahead, and I'm afraid, yeah, I made a little mistake here. Okay, here. Let me get out from this. Okay, here. You need to be careful not to make the same mistake I did, which is if you add anything while in edit mode, you will have a problem, because everything new that you add within edit mode of any object, in this case I was in edit mode with this, the particle cannon, that will be linked to the primary shape or the primary object that you were using. So be careful not to be in edit mode whenever you want to add anything that you don't want to be linked to, as I said, the shape that was in edit mode in the first place. So force field, now I can. I need this to be wind here. Let me bring it here, and I want. Why is getting linked? Let's do something else then. Let me bring my 3D cursor here, about here, and now let's add the force field. Where is it? Wind. Here it is. It doesn't matter that the light comes from it. It's getting linked, but it really doesn't matter. So now let me rotate this in the y-axis. It should be y-axis. Yes, y-axis. Oh yeah, yeah. Let me go top view with the 7 key, with the number 7 on the keypad, and rotate in the Z axis. And actually the strength needs to be to the other side, as a matter of fact. So let me rotate this, the y-axis, 180 degrees, and rotate in the y again. Oops. Rotate y-axis, just like that. More strength. Now look at that. You see, it's exactly what we want. Our particles are getting out only from the hole of the cannon. All, it's because the strength of the wind, as you can see. So okay, now there's something else we are missing here. Let me go get my my particle cannon, and well, actually the particle system. I need to go here, and from here you need to select the material. Remember, we have two materials. The first is the red, the second it's the light blue or cerulean or whatever you want to call it. You need to say that is the second material, because I want my particles to be, you see, light blue or cerulean. And now let's see, how do we see it from the camera? Okay, we can change the way we view our scene by just select the way you want to see it and press Ctrl Alt 0, and you see here it's a little bit better. If we want a quick render, just press F12, and there you have it. As you can see, looks pretty good the way we want it. Let me get out from the camera view and let me add another lamp, just because I want this to be a little bit more illuminated. Rotate in the y-axis, maybe not that much. As you can see, the area lamps have the property of a distance. As you can see, it has 25 blender units of distance. The light will get 25 blender units of long. So let me reduce this to 10, actually less than that, maybe 5, just a little light. That's all what I want. Because of this, I wanted the face of my Canon to be, or to have some light. Let me duplicate this. Let me rotate this in the set axis, maybe there. Let me change the color to a very light blue, and take a look. Looks a little bit better, right? Okay, so the last thing I want to do, just because I want it, I'm going to add a mesh. I'm going to add a monkey, our beloved Suzanne. In case you don't know, this beautiful monkey, name of this beautiful monkey is Suzanne. And why I want this, that's pretty simple. Let me start my animation. As you can see, the particles are going through Suzanne without any problem, because Suzanne has no physics added to it. What do I need to do? I need to say that this is going to be a collision object. What happens now? Look at that. That's awesome, isn't it? Now we have a little problem, as you can see, and is that the wind that we have, it's being affected, right? As you can see, if I go here, it's getting through Suzanne. So the best thing we can do is decrease the strength just a little bit, and now it's a little bit better, because it's affecting most likely to the Canon. A little bit better now, huh? Awesome, right? And our dear Suzanne, it's invulnerable to our Canon. That's all what I wanted to show in this tutorial. If we have a, let's see, we're not seeing Suzanne, so we can drag our camera by pressing G, the middle mouse button, and now move it. Let me rotate this on the set axis, and just like that. And yep, just about there. As you can see, our monkey seems a little bit better, and seems like she has a very strong shield around her. So that's it by now, my dear friends. I hope you have enjoyed this first tutorial. Again, my apologies if you hear a little bit of accent, but hey, that's completely normal. I'm not a native English speaker. Again, I hope you have found this useful, and hope to see you again next week. until then, you can subscribe to our channel or to my blog, Diseño Libre, which is http / guatemala2.blogspot.com. Till the next week, long life to open source software.